My cell phone rang with the unknown number for the first time 3 hours ago. "Hello," I asked when I pushed the little green button and held it up to my ear. I expected the all too familiar automated robot voice to tell me that the warranty on my new car was up, or some other such nonsense, but instead was met with moderately annoying hiss. "Hello," I said into the phone again. The hiss died down long enough for me to pick up a faint voice saying something in the background. Before I could catch the syllables necessary to understand what was being said to me, the hiss came back with a vengeance, and prevented anything from reaching my brain before the call suddenly disconnected. "Who was it?" Amy asked when I set the phone on the coffee table. "Couldn't tell. Too much static to tell if anyone was even on the other end." "Well, I'm sure they'll call back if it was important. Now what do you say to another glass of Chardonnay?" she said with the coy smile that was one of the many reasons why I married her. I accepted the preferred bottle and filled up my nearly empty glass. This was one of my few days we got every month where both of us didn't have to work in the morning, and god damn it, I was going to enjoy it. I took a good gulp of wine before setting it down on the coffee table and got ready to snuggle up and finally finish the 7th season of Game of Thrones before I was interrupted mid-snuggle by the sound of my phone ringing again. A quick glance at the phone showed an unknown number. I contemplated not answering it, but relented after another round of ringing. "Hello?" I said, annoyed, into the phone. The same crackling sound came from the phone's speaker. Before I hung up the phone, however, I heard a faint voice break through the annoying crackling. "Duh." The call cut out before I could hear anything else. "Same caller?" Amy asked when I set the phone down again. "Not sure. It was the same sound, but I thought I heard someone talking this time." I didn't mention the fact that the voice, despite how faint it was, sounded somewhat familiar. After another minute, I managed to put the strange phone calls out of my mind and enjoy one of the few nights we had to ourselves. An hour later, as we watched Cersei Lannister cringe away from a White Walker, we both turned our heads to listen to a faint ringing coming from the kitchen. "Is that the landline?" I asked. "I thought we canceled that." "I already told you that our cable package would actually be more expensive without it," she said as she got up from the couch to answer a ringing phone in the kitchen. After another second, I heard a faint click and a soft, "Hello?" I waited another second, hoping to hear a quick dismissal to the telemarketer, but instead just waited in silence. A 10th second goes by before I hear a faint click from the kitchen and the soft sounds of my wife's feet hitting the carpet. The look on her face would probably look just like mine after the last strange call on my phone. "It's more of a crackling sound than a hissing," she said suddenly. Despite her attempt at a light-hearted jab, it was obvious that she had recognized the voice on the other end just like I thought I had. "Did you hear her?" Her face didn't change as I asked the question. "I thought I heard a little girl's voice." "It could have been any little girl." She tried to reason with herself. "What did the voice say?" My question was interrupted by my cell phone ringing again. Just like before, it showed an unknown number. "Don't answer that," Amy said from her side of the couch. I looked at the phone again and the unknown number that continued to stay on the screen. "Don't you dare answer the..." I cut her off by picking up the phone off the table and pressing the green button to answer the call. I didn't answer the call with a hello, but listened to the now familiar crackling sound. It died down almost immediately, and I could hear light breathing on the other end. "Daddy?" With a full word under its belt, my brain could finally place the voice that had been bothering me for the last hour. "McCarthy?" I said into the phone. "Hang up the phone. Hang it up now." Amy tried to grab the phone from my hand. I stood up from the couch in a quick motion to stop her from seizing the phone. "Daddy," the voice of my dead daughter said from the phone. "Daddy's here, honey. That's not her. Just hang up the phone." Amy got up from the couch in another attempt to grab the phone from the side of my head. "Daddy, why?" was all I managed to hear before I failed to dodge one of Amy's hands and the phone was finally taken from me. In a quick motion, she threw it into the nearest wall where it made a dull thud. "What the fuck, Amy? You heard her too. I know you heard her." That wasn't her. McCarthy's dead. She's been dead for years. That cannot be her. You know it can't. We are not going to go through this again. Through what? Feeling like shit because we let our daughter die? Because the debt of her medical bills almost made us bankrupt? Because we could have done... Our shouts stopped immediately when the kitchen phone rang again. It rang again and again into the awkward silence between us. I broke the stillness by moving past my wife into the kitchen before she broke through her shock enough to stop me. I saw the phone hanging above the microwave ring another time before I reached out and grabbed it. "Honey?" I asked. "Daddy?" McCarthy said in her weak 6-year-old leukemia voice. "Is that you?" I wiped away the tears I just realized had been running down my face. "It's me, honey. I'm here. Daddy's here. Where's Mommy?" I looked up from the wall where the phone hung and turned around to see my wife standing on the other side of the kitchen with her hand over her mouth as she stared at me on the phone. "Mommy's here. Do you want to talk to her?" The voice took so long to answer I was afraid it had disconnected again. "McCarthy? Where am I?" McCarthy said. "Honey." I couldn't continue the conversation between the sobs that now engulfed and drowned any attempt to make discernible sounds. "Why did you let me—" I didn't attempt to stop Amy as she walked over and gently grabbed the phone from my hand and set it on cradle. That isn't her. No matter how much it sounds like her, McCarthy is dead. She died when she got that diagnosis. There's nothing we can do to bring her back, no matter how much we want to. She tried to hug me, but I pushed her away. Are you really going to tell me there's nothing we could have done for her? Are we going to ignore all the alternative medicines the doctor suggested? The ones we ignored? The ones that would have cost hundreds of thousands of dollars? The ones that our medical insurance wouldn't have covered?" She yelled in response. "We let her die, Amy." She stared at me in silence as I watched the tears drip from her eyes. This moment of silence was quickly interrupted as the phone behind me rang again. I turned and took at the lime green Princess phone hanging on the wall. Before I could even think to do anything, Amy reached by me and yanked the phone from the wall. I saw the cord that connected to the wall tear as she pulled violently. The phone went silent as it did. Why did... I tried asking before I heard the next impossible sound. The phone in my wife's hand rang again. She yelled in a fit of rage and hucked the phone at the wall, shattering it into multiple pieces of broken plastic and electronics. From the living room, on the floor next to the wall that had recently gained a Samsung Galaxy-sized dent, came a ringing. It's been 3 hours, and the ringing hasn't stopped.